Hi, and welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Shelley Glover.
And I'm Tabitha Taylor, and today we have Jennifer Jameson with us, and she's a junior here at SAU. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
What made you decide to come to SAU?
Well, I was born and raised in Magnolia. I have family here. I had a sister who went to SAU, and I graduated from Magnolia High School, so I thought it very natural just to come to SAU.
Mm-hmm. What was your very first impression when you came to SAU?
I was surprised at how small it was, but once you're here, you don't feel the small town atmosphere. You feel like you're at a larger university. So it's amazing that such a small university could feel like such a larger university.
Did you ever consider going to any other college?
I did. I had offers from UCA in Conway. I also had offers from Centenary in Shreveport, Louisiana, and just from other colleges. But I thought just the smart choice would be to come to SAU and just have fun wherever I would be. So.
Exactly. Well, what are you majoring in?
Well, I'm an English major and a political science minor.
What made you decide to major in English?
Well, in high school, I was in some of the elevated English classes, and I really enjoyed the literature and the discussion focused around literature. So I just thought it was very natural just to go ahead and do English, and you know, if I wanted to change my mind, I could always change my mind. But so far, I really enjoyed English.
Okay. And where does your interest from political science come from?
Well, I enjoy law, and so I thought that would be a good lead-in to law, and I thought it would give me a very good background in the issues surrounding law and politics.
Do you have any achievements since you've been here at SAU?
So far, I think my biggest achievement would be my scholarship. I have a foundation scholarship to SAU, academic scholarship. So I really have not had to pay for anything to come to SAU, which I think is a complete blessing to not have to put out anything financially. So I can really focus on my studies, even though I do have jobs. My main focus is on my studies, and I know that that is already paid for, and I don't have to worry about that. And to keep my scholarship, obviously I have to keep my GPA up, and which I've been able to do.
Because a lot of people do. They start off with a really good scholarship, and halfway through they lose it, and then they end up having to put out all the money.
Loans and stuff.
Exactly.
Are you involved in any organizations on campus?
I am. I'm involved with Sigma Tau Delta, which is an English honor society for all English majors who have completed their basic English requirements, which would be Comp 1, Comp 2, Literature 1, Literature 2. And basically, we are involved in the university just on an organizational level, just like the sororities or fraternities would be. We work, with student affairs to put on certain events, things like that. And we also center on concerns of, people in the English field. Like in March, we'll be going to a convention in Cincinnati where many people from across the country, people just like myself, will be presenting papers and their research, what they're interested in. So it does work sort of like a sorority or fraternity where you do have your conventions, and it's basically just a group of people who have the same interests.
It's a good opportunity and gets your name out and gets you more experience.
Exactly.
What are your plans after graduation?
Well, I plan to further my education by going to law school, and hopefully that will be, obviously it will have to be out of town. So.
Yeah, well, when are you expected to graduate?
Well, I expect to graduate in May 2004 with a bachelor's in English, so that will be exciting.
You said you wanted to go to law school. Where do you plan on going to law school at?
I plan to go to law school in Nashville, Tennessee at Vanderbilt University. That's my first choice. I really haven't entertained any thoughts of a second choice right now. I think it's best to focus on that. And I think that will be a great place to build a life in Nashville after law school.
What is it about the law that interests you?
Well, I've always been very drawn to argumentation, debate, discussion, not in the sense, you're arguing with your friends over something, but in a very intellectual, what is your point and why do you feel that way? Prove it to me so I can understand where you're coming from. I've always been very interested in that, and so that's a large part of the law, because every decision made is, every decision requires some argument, some discussion, and so you have to argue your side, and not necessarily just in a criminal law, but also in common law, you have to argue your side. And so that's very, very interesting to me. It just really draws me in for that.
What area of law would you like to go into?
I'm very interested in media law and entertainment law, anything to do with the entertainment industry or the music industry. Everywhere from anything from copyright to intellectual property, just all facets of that.
Okay, well, you said that you plan on going off to law school. Do you ever think you'll return back to the Magnolia area and maybe do law around here or something else?
I don't envision living in Magnolia full-time. If I'm blessed enough to financially be able to have ties in Magnolia, I would love to do that. I love the town, I love the people, and it'll never be something I completely walk away from, but I do see myself living in Nashville, so that would be where a practice would be, or a firm that I would be involved in, that would be where that would be. So I would be basically tied to Nashville.
Yeah, have you ever been to Nashville? Do you love about Nashville?
I have been to Nashville. It's been probably about 10 years ago, and I was pretty young, and we didn't get to stay very long, but I was just really fascinated by the history, not only of the music, but just the history of the United States that is there. That was a very influential town in the history of of the country. So I was just really interested in the town.
Back on the school part of it, are there any classes that you've really found interesting that they've just stood out and you think are interesting?
Well, of course, the classes in my field are very interesting. I love all of my English classes right now. I'm in American Lit 1, and that gets into some of the Puritan literature, and that is such an important part of our history. I'm really drawn to the history portion of that. So I really love my literature classes. I love anything to do with that. Right now, I'm taking media law, which is obviously even out of the political science field. It's not in English at all. I'm just taking that as an elective, and I really enjoy it. And the purpose in taking the class was to solidify my decision that I did want to go into media law, and it's been everything I expected it to be. And so I'm very fascinated, and I'm glad I took it. And I encourage other students to do the same. If you're interested in something in a different field that maybe is not even offered in your department, but you're really interested in it and you have time in your schedule, take it.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, do you hold a part-time job?
I do. I have 3 jobs this
Oh,
semester,
wow.
actually. It's the first time. Right.
Man.
I work in town in an office, Jeff Neal Timberland Management, owned by Jeff Neal, and he's a registered forester. So obviously, we do lots of nature things. I really enjoy that. I'm a secretary there. I enjoy that a lot, just that it's focused in the office and I don't have to take anything home, for it. There's not a whole lot I have to do to prepare for it. I'm also a supplemental instructor with the Student Support Services, and I work with Dr. Belcher's Lit 1 class. We do tutoring sessions each week. I go to their class and I participate in their class. So I've already taken that class before. This is actually my 3rd time to sit in on this class, so I'm very familiar with the subject. So it helps students to feel like they have another student to come and talk to, whereas they don't have to go to an authority figure and say, well, I don't understand this, and feel upset about that. I also work at the SAU Writing Center, which is very exciting for me. I didn't even know what a writing center was until one day on email I saw an advertisement that they were looking for writing consultants, and I thought, well, I like English, I like to write, maybe this could be a very interesting job. So I contacted them, and I found out that the Writing Center can be a very important resource for all students because we take all writers at any level, at any point in their project, from my teacher just assigned me this, what do I do? What is this?
So it's for any kind of subject at all? You don't have to be in English or
Anything
writing?
from business to science. Obviously English, you're going to have a lot of writing, but any paper, any writing assignment, even if it's just a journal assignment, you can still come in. So we help, from the first step to the polishing phase, and anything in between. We have great hours. Most of our hours every day except for Friday is 8 to 4:30, and Friday it's 8 to 3:30. And we also have night hours from 6 to 8 o'clock, and there's always someone well qualified to help you. We go through a class, we have a semester-long class that actually teaches us how to help other people. And so not all the people that work there are English majors like myself. We have a science major, we have a person that's undeclared. Right now we actually have a business major, so it's from all fields. And so we help people feel comfortable coming in, and you know, we're not just a bunch of English
Well,
majors.
I didn't know a whole lot about the
Yeah.
Writing Center, and that's
Right.
really neat.
It is.
Have you found it difficult, because you have 3 jobs and you go to school, have you found that difficult to manage your time with that?
I do. This, like I said before, this is the first semester I've had 3 jobs. Last semester I had 2 jobs. I did supplemental instructing and I did consultation at the Writing Center. But it is difficult to find time. Not so much difficult to find time to go to class, because I've been lucky enough that my employers understand that school does come first, and that there are going to be things that come up that have to be adjusted for. So they've been very understanding with that. But it is difficult. I go to class, and usually, you know, I start my day at 8 o'clock, and I go to class usually until noon or later, until 1. I have an hour for lunch, and I go back to work until usually it's 6 o'clock before I get home every night. And sometimes I have an hour then, and I go back to work, and so and until
Then you have
8 o'clock.
schoolwork.
Right, and so when I get home, I'm exhausted from a long day. Plus, I have schoolwork, so it is difficult to find time for myself. I can get things done. It's just hard to find time for myself.
Yeah. Well, you sound like you have a lot going, and you know exactly where you want to go. So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I have a secret dream. Well, I say it's secret, but I hope to have something to do with music, whether that be in law or whether that be myself having a music career. So in 10 years, regardless of if it's music or law, I hope to be graduated from law school. I hope to have a very fulfilling life in Nashville, Tennessee, centered around my work and my interests.
So you're singing the music thing, Nashville.
Yes, it all works. There's a whole
plan
master
behind it all,
plan
huh?
out there.
Yes,
That's great.
exactly.
That's great.
Okay.
Since you work, go to school and all that, you probably don't have a lot of free time, but the little bit that you do have, what do you do during that free time?
Oh, obviously it would be music. I love music. I've loved music for a very long time. So I play guitar, I play mandolin, I play trumpet. I love to sing. So I listen to a lot of music, anything from, you know, Eminem to bluegrass. It really doesn't matter to me as long as it says something and it does that in an interesting and captivating way. I'm very enamored by anybody that could put themselves on the line like that and really say something about themselves or, you know, or society in general. So I'm very interested in music, and I spend a lot of my free time in music as well as writing. I like just to write and also like songwriting.
So what kind of music do you usually sing?
I usually sing country.
Do you write any of your own songs that you sing?
I do. In the last couple of years, I've really started writing, really focusing on writing, and that's a dream too, to be able to have enough songs to at least do one album.
For yourself?
Right. And I'm actually pretty possessive of that, because I have a friend that writes with me, and he's like, oh, I love this song, and I want this song. When I do my album, I'm going to have this song, and I'm thinking, I want this song.
Yeah.
You can have it after I get done with it. And, of course, he's the same way with his songs. So,
Right.
Yeah.
We want people to know them. We want people to appreciate them. We want people to like them enough to say, oh, I would spend money to record this. But then at the same time, we want to keep it for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, where are some places that you've sang at? Do you sing locally?
I do. Magnolia actually has a country music show, Union Street Station, on East Union Street. And I think that's the 3rd Saturday of every month. So it's a family-oriented show. Most of the shows of this type are family-oriented. Of course, there are festivals. I really haven't gotten into the festival arena. I do contests when my schedule allows it. El Dorado has a show. It's the Boomtown Jamboree, and I've sang there. In fact, I sang there last weekend. I really enjoy going to other places and singing. It's just a different feeling than singing in front of your
Different
hometown.
audience,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly. Texarkana is probably the largest town I've sang in, and they have a really nice show.
The
So
Oakland Opry, yeah.
yeah, the Oakland Opry. So there are shows around. You just have to hear about them, and I think it would be great for some students if they enjoy, especially country music or southern rock music, to hear about some of these places, find out about them.
Well, I'd love to hear you sing.
Yeah,
thank you.
Go ahead. No. How long have you been singing for?
My parents tell me that I started singing when I started talking, so I can't vouch for that. I don't know. I do remember my thing used to be, especially when I was younger, to go outside and we had a swing set, and I would swing and sing for hours on end, any song I knew, and I would make up songs, just whatever came, a car passed by, well, a car passed, that's the song, this car passing by. So it's just always been a part of my life. I go to First Baptist Church, and they start choir just as soon as you can sing. If you can talk, you can sing, so you're going to be in choir.
Yeah.
So I remember being in choir from a very young age and all the way up into sanctuary choir, which is the adult choir. So that really started me off singing. And then around 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I started singing at other shows. And so it really sort of shifted from just church to outside of church, which was a big step.
Well, do you have a favorite song or one that you like to sing that just really touches your heart or makes an impact on you?
Oh, that is such a difficult question. It depends on what day it is,
Yeah.
what my favorite song
True.
is.
Yeah.
And so I'll hear a song that is
That's
the
great,
best
yeah.
song I've ever heard. Oh my gosh, I love this.
And then you hear another one the next day, and
Right,
you're like, oh,
yes.
I love it.
Depends on your
Exactly.
mood. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm always drawn to gospel songs. I love, when I was a child, we had this old hymnal that we used to sing out of, and so I really love just old standard hymns that you would hear at church. But of course, there's so many songs that
There
are just
are.
great.
Yes.
It's just difficult to pick one.
Have you had to take any classes in the summer?
I have taken classes in the summer, not out of necessity, but just to get ahead, or I'd really love to do this and just get it out of the way, so maybe I have more free time during the regular semesters. The summer between my freshman year and sophomore year, I took literature too, and I recommend that for anybody that enjoys literature. But if that's a
lot
tough,
of reading.
yes, if that's a tough subject for you,
Yeah.
definitely do it during the regular
Because
semester.
you're in there a lot.
Yes, you're in there every day, and you have a lot to read. You read just as much as you would during the regular semester, only it's condensed into
Right.
about 6 weeks. So it was really fun. We had a lot of students in there who were focused on getting through the material and the
Right.
discussion. And of course, literature is a discussion class. You have to discuss it. So that's exactly, it was exactly what I wanted to do. Also took elementary Spanish 1 and elementary Spanish 2 this last summer, which was all summer long. So that was difficult, but in the long run, I think it really helps in the long run.
Yeah.
It really put me ahead.
Well, good. What has been the hardest class you've taken since you've been at SAU?
I would have to say the foreign language. Spanish is not the most difficult language, but it is difficult learning a second language, especially when I don't have someone in my family or someone I talk to
Right.
every day that speaks that language.
Because
and
you
so
don't
it's-
use it a lot around here. You might go to some other area and use it a lot, but
Yeah.
around Magnolia, Arkansas, you're not going to use Spanish a lot in everyday language.
Right, unless you have somebody in your family or a close friend.
And that's mine is French, so luckily I have family that's what they speak.
Really?
So it's easier for me to, okay, well I can do this because I can
Right.
go and ask them, okay, how do you talk, how do you say this?
And it
Why do you
also
do this?
provides more of a purpose
Exactly.
than earning a grade
Exactly.
to be able to speak a language.
Yeah.
And so that's something I struggle with. I really enjoy the Spanish class. I enjoy the atmosphere. It's something more difficult than what
is.
I thought it would be.
Right.
So
Overall, have you enjoyed SAU?
I have. I think SAU offers many opportunities that you wouldn't think it would because it is in such a small town. But I would recommend SAU to any student who wanted to come. I mean, if you're thinking about it, do it. It's a great college.
Well, good. While at SAU, have you met any people that made an impact on your life?
I have. I've made so many friends, and there have been so many great professors and teachers and staff members even, that don't teach a class, but they're so dependable in their position in the university. One person in particular would be Dr. Shannon Schrader. She's associate professor for English, and I've had a few classes under her. She's also the director of the Writing Center, so I work closely with her with that. So I see a lot of her, but she's always been somebody that was very willing to be involved in her students' lives and to help anyone in any way she can.
And it's
So
very good to have someone like that during your college career.
It
You know,
is,
you
and-
need a faculty or a staff member that you can always go to that makes college a little bit easier for you to
Right.
get through.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
one of the strong points of SAU because there are so many faculty and staff members who are willing to take a part, not only in what they're getting paid to do, which, to teach a class or to be a secretary or anything, but to really be an influence on someone else's life.
And that's the good thing about a small university.
Yeah. Well, they don't
because
have so many students they can't handle.
Yeah, they know you on a
Right,
first name
exactly.
basis. They're not like, okay, now who are you again?
Right,
And
so
that
you've
helps.
had a
Yeah.
class with one professor, and
And you've more than likely had more than one class with that
right,
professor.
but every time they see you, even if you've only
Yeah.
had that one class,
They say
they know
hi.
who you are, they know of you,
Yep.
and oh, you're the one that liked such and such, or you're the one that really liked this certain chapter. So
Yeah.
they're very involved. And I
What
really-
have you learned most out of college life here at SAU?
I've learned most to be determined and to persevere. I've always thought of myself as being a determined person, so it was very surprising to find out that maybe I'm not quite as determined as I thought I was.
No, you sound pretty determined to me.
Well, so I think that is the main thing is anytime you have a problem, you're going to get through it.
Right.
It may not be the way you had planned on. You may veer from your plan a little bit, but plans are made to change. So things are going to change, and you just get used to that change and get used to, I'm going to plan it this way, but it may not happen this way. So
Right.
always have a backup or always be thinking about other options that you can, that you have. To, don't paint yourself into a corner is always my philosophy.
Well, what's been your favorite part of college life at SAU?
My favorite part of college life at SAU would have to be just the people, the atmosphere, the small town. Obviously, I'm from this town, and so I have other ties other than the university, but I think for people who are from towns around here and who live in the dorms and maybe they don't know anybody in town except for the people at the university, this is a place that they can sort of feel like it's their second hometown. Just sort of fall into a routine here in Magnolia, and it's a conservative town, but it's not so conservative that it's not open to visitors. And Magnolia is very proud of its university and its status that brings. So, they really open themselves up to, okay, we're going to have a lot of young people coming to SAU. We should really try to make a good impression on these people. So that, and of course that atmosphere lends itself to friendship. And I've made tons of friends here that I never thought I would meet as many people.
And
as I
people
did.
from all over. I mean,
Right.
I think it's amazing that you're from Magnolia and you're so pleased with your experience here.
And that you're
Right.
still
And that-
meeting more people.
Yeah.
You're not just
Right.
stuck with the people that you graduated with or that you knew.
Right. I've met people
found
that
that
have lived
neat.
in Magnolia
That you
for
didn't
all
even
of
know.
my lifetime that I had never met before. I knew of them, but I never knew them. And so I think that's great. I would have never met these people.
Right.
It may have been 20 years down the line or something before I met them. So
Yeah.
I think it's a very important part of the college experience is to meet people.
Let's go back 2 years to when you were a freshman. Is there anything that you would do differently?
I don't think I would do anything differently. I was pretty happy with my freshman experience. Of course, I had a sister who had just graduated. She's 4 years older than I am, so she had just come through her college career, and she knew what to do and what not to do. And she always told me, be on top of what your schedule is supposed to be and what you need for your major. So I think for freshmen, that's very important for them. They're unsure of the scheduling process. They don't know what to do with that. So I felt I was very prepared for that.
Well, good. And thank you so much for being a guest
Yeah,
with us here
thank
today.
All right, thank you.